Hi everyone, welcome back to If My Heart Wings, episode 43, where the typhoon is in full swing at the Flying Fish Manor, and at the wrong time, the twins Asa and Yoru move into the Flying Fish Manor, and it's because they were quite excited to have their own place to stay, so they moved in one day early. And because of the leaks and the repairs, Aoi was not able to get their room ready to go. And he tried to lie about it, but it turns out the real reason why their room is not ready is because he stored the glider in their room. So he's trying to hide it from the evil administrators and faculty members of the Keifu Academy like Tobioka-sensei. So what they were going to do was that now that the Soaring Club is dismantled, they're going to sell the glider to a museum because one, they can clear up storage space. Two, they can make money and fund other activities like the robotics club or the new dormitory for students. And three, much to Tobioka-sensei's wishes, the Soaring Club will never come back to life. And I'm sure they're aware that something fishy is going on with the Soaring Club members, and that's why Akari got called to investigate. And she was pretty close to having an investigation with Aoi, Kotori, and Ageha, but thanks to the typhoon, they were able to postpone it. And I'm sure the school is aware of them taking the glider from the storage room. But anyways, let's see how they weather through this typhoon first. Okay, so Yoru's still kind of on the fence about living here. It's like, well, it's old, it has a really bad smell, everything's old, and it's about to fall apart. And I think if we wait longer, we can find a better place to stay instead of this old, dumpy dormitory. So the reason why you want to stay here is because of the glider? Well, I feel that Asa, you kind of fantasize too much. You kind of mix fantasy with reality. Well, come on. So life isn't all black and white. You should try to think a little bit, I'll say like romanticist, a little bit. Okay, so more like be more girly, try to be a little bit more relaxed, and just all these dreams and all these colors, all these really abstract ideas. So what is it? So as Asa's looking through all the things that Aoi has in his room, she's getting quite interested. Like, well, the glider and this photo. It kind of shows that everyone's happy. But once again, Yoru still feels quite pessimistic about this place. Like, well, if we stay here, what happens if one night this whole building comes crashing down because of poor condition? Well, how about you sleep with me so that you can assure me and comfort me when it happens? Well, whatever shall we do? Oh, come on! Okay, so it's the next day at the Keifu Academy, and so the typhoon had passed, and a blue sky spread over Kazigurura.
というわけなので、よろしくお願いします、会長。
So what are they trying to say to Akari? So please consider it.
しまーす。
So stand behind Kotori, we bow our heads. So this is a 4th grade classroom. Yesterday we were ordered to go to the student council room, so we decided to take the initiative and go to Akari's classroom instead. And we stated the matter frankly. So we're making an application for the revival of the Soaring Club. And it was a negotiation to restore the Soaring Club, which lost its status last year.
その件はすでに却下されたはずですよ、Amane小鳥さん。
But the rejection, or like it's already been rejected, so you can't appeal.
それは前の生徒会の話でしょ。
Okay, so like, well, it's a new term, so you should reconsider it with new members.
あなたなら違う考えをお持ちなんじゃないかって思ったんだけど。
So maybe this term they'll have a different opinion about this Soaring Club. So the title of leader of the Soaring Club, or like the Soaring Circle, isn't a decoration. So for a year, Kotori had been negotiating with the student council for the revival of the Soaring Club. However, the previous student council president had said that I don't think that, okay, so the teacher, Tobioka-sensei, would allow it. So apparently the old president that graduated, he's loyal to that teacher and he listens to the teacher's words like, well, if he says no, then I have to honor his request to say no. And that was a typical example of someone who is afraid to rock the boat. It's like, well, I think it's because the president, he's afraid to defy this powerful teacher's words. But now that Akari's the president, maybe she can stand up against that teacher and approve it anyways, much to his unsatisfaction or dissatisfaction. So the previous student council was dissolved, and in the election held a few days ago, Akari was chosen to be the new student council president. Basically like
Spooky boogie.
So in her case, she might actually listen to what we have to say to Kotori. So finally, so Kotori finally had grounds for negotiation. So I wonder if Akari is willing to fight against Tobioka-sensei to approve the application. Because I'm pretty sure if she does approve it, Tobioka-sensei and his team, so other teachers and administration members, they're going to yell at her and demand an explanation about why this club should come back to life. So Akari was in deep thought as she stared at the application petition for the revival of the club. And we watched over her with tense expressions. So it isn't officially recognized as a club, but there are a few circumstances that could spell trouble for us. And first is the issue of ownership of the glider. So that's property of the Soaring Club. So if it becomes a club again, it should be officially recognized as being under our ownership. It's like, well, once we get the club status reinstated, then we are allowed to have the glider at school because it'll be our property. Or like the school will assign the glider to us. It was built using club funds, which is why it was taken away by the school along with the club status. Well, actually, over half the funds for the construction were paid by Amane herself. So in a sense, it's not true that the glider is entirely owned by the school. And I wonder if paying the other half to the school or back to the school, that's going to help relinquish the ownership of the glider, and therefore the school has no right to sell the glider to a museum and make money for other things. Well, there's also the problem of the club funds. So currently, we're facing a serious shortage of funds. So the parts and materials come from Ageha and Kotori, helping out at Anchan's place, but the transport costs for Ageha and I to go to the airfield, and the cost of the flight training is no joke. So obviously, learning how to fly costs a lot of money, and that's why it's quite discouraging to start as a pilot. But obviously, if you stay put, starting from an early age, it pays off, because if you become a captain of a really large airliner, you get paid handsomely. But of course, very few pilots make it to that stage. So our intention is to use the funds to help cover these costs, even if only by a little. Well, another thing, the fact that we can't use the school facilities. And for the manufacturing of the parts, even if you want to use the school's equipment, they won't give us permission. So everyone just uses it freely, but with Tobioka-sensei keeping an eye on us, being found out could cause problems. So that guy again, it's like, well, hey, administration, I see that the Soaring Club people are illegally using our facilities for their own activities, and that's illegal because we're not a club, so I want you to punish them, discipline them. So lastly, we don't have anywhere to conduct our activities. As a result, we had to occupy the room used by the Kazato sisters. And we can continue to use the dormitory as our base for operations.
お願いよ、生徒会長。私たちが真面目に活動してたことはあなただって知ってるでしょ。そうです。慶風学園にとってこれほどふさわしい部活動はないと思いませんか？
So everyone was desperately pleading with her, but
その前に
so the problem is that glare. So Akari stared at us with a scary expression on her face.
あなたたちに聞きたいことがあっての。
So one question I want to ask all of you.
倉庫から消えたグライダーの件よ。
So we are aware that you took the glider from the storeroom. So her voice dropped down a tone. That alone was enough to make us cower in fear.
何のことかしら？
So what do you mean? So even if we were totally busted, we have no choice but to play dumb. So let's pretend that we don't know anything about the glider being stolen. Or like the glider being stolen. So Akari is usually a fair person, but she wouldn't be that flexible. So if it was clear that we had taken it away, she would definitely have to take action.
何者かが倉庫に忍び込み、保管してあったグライダーを盗み出したのよ。
So the glider got stolen, and we found
あんな巨大なもの、一体誰が持ち去ったのかしらね。
and I wonder who would be interested in such a big piece of equipment. And the way she said it made it sound like she was implying, well, I'm sure it had to be you people, because only you would have interest in that big machine. So she's completely right though. The thing with the glider was a huge miscalculation on our part. We knew that it would be a big disadvantage when it came to applying for restoration of the club, but it couldn't be avoided. Well, I'm sure the bigger problem is that if they kept it there and went to apply it, there could be a good chance that the glider had been sold already before they could apply for club status. So even if it gets approved, they have nothing to work with and they have to start from zero. So basically try to get funds and build the glider from scratch. So knowing that though this would happen, we came to her first to negotiate. So could it be some kind of geek, like an airplane geek? Maybe they really wanted it, no matter what. So as I desperately try to give a suitable answer, Akari looks at me. So let me guess. You're trying to say that it wasn't you. It wasn't. So no, not me. Not us. I answer while choking on my words. My heart feels heavy at Akari's eyes, full of righteousness, shoot a gaze right through me.
いいでしょう。ただし、もし不正な手段を用いていると分かったときは、一切擁護はできないので、注意してくださいね。
So the problem is that if it is you people that stole the glider, even I can't help you, and I'm sure you'll face bigger problems from the administration, and it can result in them being in jail for grand larceny because I'm sure that glider's worth a lot of money, and I'm pretty sure the teacher, Tobioka-sensei, he's okay with all of them being thrown out. Okay. So without thinking, I answer honestly, and Ageha gave me a poke in the ribs. So that was like I was saying, well, actually, we did stole. So like, well, so Ageha's telling Aoi, hey, don't give any hints that we're the ones who took the glider from the storage room.
それにしても、来週には博物館が寄贈される手はずだったのに。どうしてこうもいいタイミングで。
So it's quite interesting that this was stolen right when we're about to have it donated to a museum, said Akari as she caught a glimpse of our expressions. It seems that she'd like to know about that. About who leaked the information to us. And before she can investigate more, looks like Masasugu is here to break the tense negotiations. So at the moment, Masasugu appeared, calling out in a frivolous voice.
16時からよ、田崎くん。
じゃあそれまで暇ですよね。どっかでお茶でも。あ、なんだお前ら。
Okay. Well, that bonehead Masasugu, well, he just only realized that we're here.
何やってんだ?
So what are you doing?
部の復帰申請をしに来たのよ。
So can you just get the hell out of here then?
なんだよその態度。俺だって生徒会のメンバーなんだぞ。
Hey, I'm part of the student council, so you can't shoo me away like that. So Masasugu sticks his chest out in a patronizing kind of way. Oh yeah, that's right. He joined the student council this year as the secretary. In response to Masasugu, Akari... Well, I kind of regret electing him or appointing him to be the secretary because he's kind of weird. There you go.
どうかしましたか、あっかりさん。
今、大事な話をしていたところです。例のグライダー強奪事件について。ずっと不思議だったんです。どうして博物館に寄贈される直前に盗まれてしまったのか。
So I find it weird that the timing was correct, once again.
犯人が一般生徒だと仮定して、どうやってその情報を知り得たのか。
So it has to be someone from here because how would they know that the glider is about to be donated?
どうしてでしょうね。俺バカなんでわかんないや。
Well, I can only say that this person is smart. Ageha and I looked at each other. Isn't there a better way we can try to trick her? Akari seemed convinced by the poor attempt at deceiving her and didn't pursue it any further. But for the time being, it's good that she didn't find the perpetrator who leaked the information. So, by the way, this is kind of besides the point, but it looks like Masasugu had broken up with his girlfriend, who he was in a band with. So, sorry, Eri-chan. So, according to him, the reason was because of musical differences. And that's why he got dumped. And after that, he met the girl he was destined to be with. An older girl called Akari Kumoi. And then in order to chase after her, he joined the student council. And that's the end of that little side story.
廃部の一件については以前お話しした通りよ。同情的な気分にはなるけれど、どうしてやることもできないわ。
But unfortunately, I can't really do anything to restore the membership. So apparently, it's like if Tobioka-sensei says no, then I can't really do much about it because he's a big figure at this school. So right after Amane left, it was decided in a staff meeting that the club would have its status repealed without any notification, and the garage was forcibly taken from us and demolished. And that was all under the instruction of Tobioka-sensei. So some of the students were against it, but Tobioka-sensei went ahead and forced it to be demolished. And the reason was that this has been promised from the beginning.
実際、私も納得はしていないのよ。
So what's her reason?
廃部の根拠は単に望月先輩以外に部員がいなかったからというもの。
So I kind of feel that the club is quite empty, and I'm already kind of skeptical because there's not enough members compared to the Roblox club, where they have like 60 students attending it, as opposed to now 3 members.
でも実際はあなたたちがいたわ。それなのに先生方の都合で廃部を決定するなんて、これは生徒会自治権への悪質な侵害行為だわ。
Oh, so it's like, well, the repeal was not from me, it was because of the teachers. And even I was against it, because I did see some progress in some activity going on, and I did see that all of you are doing hard work in there. And so, well, that's a malicious infringement on the the autonomy of the student council.
あの時私が会長だったなら、もう少し抵抗できていたものを。
Well, you know, I really wanted to fight against this proposal. Like, it was just confiscated from you guys. So she spoke with her fists clenched and a furrowed brow, and she looked genuinely frustrated. And she won't forgive those who selfishly ignored the rules, even if they are teachers. It's like, well, teachers know best, they're smart, and they know what's best for students. And I'm sure best means that all good students should join the Roblox Club. So that's what happened. So she's the one who, when all is said and done, was working hard to help the Soaring Club survive by putting pressure on Amane, who had been continuing with the club all by herself. And at the time when the club was in danger of being shut down, she's strict, but really she's a good person. So how about you fight for the revival, like help support the revival? So President, so the decision will repeal status should never have been made. So this is like our big chance to make ourselves heard. But Akari shook her head. So unfortunately, I can't do that anymore.
部としての条件を満たせていないからです。
So what conditions are not met?
まず、部員数の不足。
Well, I'm sure they can get new members. So now there are only 3 members. To be a club, you need 4 members.
次に、活動内容の有効性ですが、これはまあ問題ないでしょう。
Well, that part is okay. So I did see progress and I did see some work done. So this is about whether or not the activities are suitable for a club, and there's no problem as far as that goes.
有資格者の不在。これは深刻な問題ですね。
So we need some person, maybe like a faculty member, to support this club.
パイロットの資格なら葵くんが持ってるわ。
Well, I'm sure they need someone like a faculty member to support this club.
それだけでは足りないでしょ。
Well, as well as the pilot, you also need qualifications for the equipment. So the glider cannot be administrated without qualified personnel. And before Amane had allowed all the necessary qualifications, so it wasn't a problem. So basically Amane, okay, so she got herself certified in every possible way to be able to fly the glider.
最後に顧問の不在。
Okay, so the fourth problem is the advisor. So no faculty member to support this club. So Yamanobe-sensei, who had until last year been the advisor, withdrew when the Soaring Club lost its status. He was under close scrutiny under Tobioka-sensei and had to deal with a super problem child like Amane Mochizuki. So, in short, he got tired of handling all the problems and trying his hardest to circumvent all the rules. It's like, well, I quit. I'm done. You go take care of it yourself. So it's no wonder a third of his hair had gone white, despite still being quite young. So he couldn't handle all the stress from Amane and the other teachers. He's timid, but a decent guy and a good teacher though.
これらの問題が解決できない以上、申請を認めるわけにはいきません。ケッチ。もし生徒会が認めたとしても、それでは飛岡先生らは認めてくれないでしょうね。
So he's trying, or like Akari's trying her best to find some way to make it happen, but it's like I'm pretty sure the teacher is trying his hardest to keep it closed. So the way she spoke was quite gentle, but what she really meant was that there's no way that Tobioka-sensei will let this slide if you can't fulfill the minimum conditions. In other words, you're saying that it's not entirely impossible. Akari nods.
条件さえクリアできれば、我々生徒会から先生方に掛け合ってみましょう。
So if you can get all these requirements met, then we'll have some bullets to negotiate with the teaching staff, trying to convince them that this club can be sustainable. So with a look on her face, she said that this is what being fair is all about. Akari reassured us. Well, thank you very much, President. So we bow as we make our way out of the 4th grade classroom.
グライダーはくれぐれも見つからないようにすることね。
Okay. Okay, so I'm pretty sure Akari knows that Aoi, Ageha, and Kotori stole the glider and hid it somewhere. It's like, so if you want this club to come back alive, try your best to hide it. Okay.
素直な子ね。
So as I empathetically reply, Akari treated it like a joke and paid no attention.
お前らマジで盗み出すなんて思ってなかったぞ。
So I'm pretty sure all the conditions can be met. They can find someone else as a member. And it looks like there may be one person that would join right away. But the bigger problem is that they're going to have a hard time finding a faculty member. And I'm sure Tobioka-sensei is making sure that no teacher supports the Soaring Club. And it's like, well, come on, divert all the funding possible to my club because it's more sustainable. But anyways, it looks like they told Matsuga about what really happened with the glider. So as we stop, or like step out into the hallway, Matsuga came straight over to protest.
じゃあどうすると思ったのよ。
そりゃあ
So the one who gave us the news that the glider will be donated to the museum was none other than this guy. So Matsuga was the one who leaked the information. So it seems that he found out because it came up in the student council agenda.
盗んだんじゃないわ。返してもらったのよ。だってあれは私たちのものなんですもの。
I'm sure the school disagrees with that. It's like, well, it's property of school. So when you graduate, the property or everything that you have goes back to the school and we can do anything we want, including donating it or selling it to a museum.
だからってな、もうちょいやり方ってもんが。
Well, I'm sure there's no other chance, other way. Wait, what do you mean? In the past, we used to play way more pranks than this with Anchan, didn't we? Ageha says, yep, as she nods.
やったよね。で、怒られたよね。
俺はお前らと違って真人間なんだ。
Well, I'm a student council member, so I'm more proper, I'm more professional than you people. So how much hard work did we put into making that thing? So when you think about that, what you did was no big deal.
だろうと思ったから教えてやったんだ。
Well, at a minimum, I did give you the information about what's going to happen to the gliders, so I should have been a big help to all of you.
あんま無茶すんなよ。
Hey, just don't get reckless. Yeah, well, thanks for helping out.
じゃ、これでホームルーム終わるな。一丁く。
起立。気をつけ。レイ。アッサちゃん。
Oh, so Asa-chan's here, or Asa.
今日こそ逃がさないぞ。見学に来てもらうんだからね。我がカルタ部を。
Okay, so they're being pushed to apply and join different clubs. And now we have someone from the card club asking them to join.
いや、それはちょっと、だって何よ。朝ちゃん、部活まだ入ってないんでしょ？
Well, come on. You haven't joined anything yet, so how about this club?
それはそうだけど。だったらね、お願い、見に来るだけでもさ。新任部員全然入ってなくて先輩困ってるんだ。私も寂しいし。
Well, my club is getting smaller and smaller because we're mostly seniors and we're about to graduate, so we need new people to replenish the membership count.
1年生、私合わせても2人しかいないし、片方男子だしさ、すごく寂しいの。もうお願いね。そこまで言ってもらえるなら、行ってみるだけでも。
Okay, so I'll take a look then. But that doesn't mean I'll join, so.
ね、人助けだと思ってさ、他にやりたい部活ないんだったらね。
Okay, so using food to entice her to join.
なんだったら担々麺もつけちゃう。美味しい超辛い中華料理を見つけたんだ。担々麺お主が辛いものに弱いのは知ってるんじゃぞ。ほれ、釣られるがよい。
Hehehe, this is a way for me to push you into the club. Or convince you.
姉さん、ヨルちゃん、そっちもホームルーム終わったの？うん。どうしたの？
So what's wrong?
いやね、クラスの子から部活の勧誘受けてて。あら、君って朝ちゃんの双子？じゃあ、あなたもどうかしら。カルタって一見地味に見えるけど、結構白熱する競技で。
Oh, so I see that you have a twin. So how about I pull you in too?
私は出す。別にカルタに興味ないし。
Sorry, I'll pass. So Yoru just up front explains that, well, I don't like card games that much, so I'm not interested in your club.
ヨルちゃん、待って。ちょっと、朝ちゃんまた逃がしたか。
Oh no, so I can't pull her in now. She left.
ちょっとヨルちゃん、感じ悪いよ今の。だって別にカルタに興味ないし、姉さんだってそうでしょ。
Okay, so it's like, well, I don't like cards. And it's a waste of time trying to hear her advertise the card club to us.
そりゃそうだけど。姉さんって頼まれごと断るの下手だよね。いつか誰かに利用されて損しちゃうよ。
So basically, you have to be more aggressive if you don't want to be in this club. If you just sit there and listen, then she's going to suck you in, and it's going to be hard to get out.
大丈夫だよ。私それなりに賢いし。
Well, I feel that if you do go in, or like you go see what the club's like, you'll pretty much be guaranteed to be sucked in.
自分で賢いなんて言っちゃってる時点でね。
But then again, Yoru is being a little bit too harsh and rude.
それに私なんかに声かけてくれてるんだから適当に返したりなんてできないよ。
It's like, well, it is kind of rude to say no.
姉さんはほんと優しいわよね。だったらカルタ部に入ってあげればよかったのに。
Well, if you can't say no, then you might as well just accept their offer.
でもそれは
And what?
ねえヨルちゃん、ソアリング同好会ってどこで活動してるのかな。
Well, by the way, where does the Soaring Circle carry out their activities?
どうしたの急にそんな話題。いやね、そのね、なんとなく。
I'm sure if Asa goes and asks other people, they're like, well, it's not a club, so it doesn't exist, and there's no point of looking for it.
姉さん、もしかして。いや、やめた方がいいよ姉さん。ソアリング同好会は部活じゃない。部員だって少ないみたいだし、めんどくさい先生に睨まれたりもして悪いことずくめ。
There you go. It's like, well, it's not a club, so it doesn't count as club activities. And plus, that teacher, Tobioka-sensei, is looking after them.
だからみんな入らない。近づかない。大体あんな奴らの仲間になんて。
So what clubs do Yoru recommend to Asa? Or like what clubs can they join together without any problems?
よくご存知だね、ヨルちゃん。まあね。
And she gets embarrassed when Asa credits her.
じゃあ活動場所も知ってる？
Okay, it's like, well, even though it's not a club, I'm sure they're holding activities somewhere.
それは知らない。というか、人が止めてるのにスルーなのね、姉さんは。
Well, I guess you're persistent.
でも、姉さんがそんなにお熱なんて、ほんと珍しいよね。だから、
Oh, sorry, I went too fast.
私の心の清涼剤、愛しき姉さんを奪う悪い奴らね。絶対に許さないんだから。
So, I wonder why Yoru is so against the Soaring Circle. It's like, they're trying to take away my sister.
ヨルちゃん？ほんと私が励ましてもどうってことなかったのに、なんで急に元気になっちゃうかな。
And despite my best efforts, I feel that you're still interested in that non-existent club.
最近ずーっと微妙な塩梅だったじゃない、姉さん。なのにさ、どうしてどうしてって言われても。 あの寮に来てから目とかランランしちゃって元気になって。そりゃ私も嬉しいけどそれ以上に悔しいし。
But if there's one thing that I can be proud of is that you're more energetic than before.
ヨルちゃん。
So what's happening?
盗んだんじゃないわ。返してもらったのよ。だってあれは私たちのものなんですもの。
Okay, so the twins are hearing this conversation from Kotori and Masasugu, and when they mentioned that the glider's taken, it relates to the soaring circle somehow.
だからってな、もうちょいやり方ってもんが。
Well, I'm sure there's no better way. Well, what do you mean? Well, in the past, we used to play way more pranks than this with Anchan, didn't we?
やったよね。で、怒られたよね。
俺はお前らと違って真人間なんだ。
Really? So, what do they think about that conversation?
声かけないの。いや、楽しそうだったから。
Well, it kind of hurts to interrupt them in the middle of a very big conversation.
楽しそうだったから声かけないってのもよくわからないけど。私なんかが入っちゃうと迷惑じゃない。コミュニティ乱しちゃうだけだよ。
There you go. It's like, well, if I go in, I'll interrupt their conversation, so...
姉さん、中途半端な遠慮がちょっとうざい。そんなんでソアリング同好会がどうのなんて。
But this is your chance if you want to know about the soaring circle.
だって話しかけたいなら話しかければいいのに。それでソアリング同好会がどこで活動されてるか聞けば一発だったじゃないの。
Well, come on. These are the people that you go ask if you're interested in that soaring circle.
それはそうなんだけど。ほんと、姉さんはいつだって他人優先よね。自己中の私と違って心配になるくらい。ま、それが姉さんのいいとこだとは思うけど。
But then again, I admire that kind of personality.
別に他人優先ってわけでもないよ。それに私も自己中だし、いきなり引っ越したいって言ったのも私だし。それでヨルちゃん巻き込んじゃったし。
Well, am I worrying you too much?
私に関して言うなら勝手についてきただけだけどね。
Well, you do get me
心
worried.
配だったから。
It's like, well, whatever you want to do, I'll support you. So,
ほら、やっぱり迷惑かけてるよ。
but then again, I kind of cause inconvenience to you, and that's not good.
そうだ、もっと迷惑かけるつもりでおじいちゃんにグライダー買ってって頼んでみたら。あれくらいだったら買ってくれるかもよ。
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure Grandpa will need a very good explanation about why he should buy a glider for them, because I'm pretty sure buying one commercially is going to cost a lot of money.
違うんだもん。買いたいわけじゃないもん。そうじゃなくて、あれを自分の手で作る。
Oh, okay. So it's like, well, like making the glider, building it, that's part of the excitement. And if I just buy one commercially made, it's not as exciting as building one from scratch. And by building one from scratch, you can see all the details, all the little things that help put the glider into the sky.
なんだろう。
And I think that part excites Asa too.
うまく言えないけど、そう、ああいうものに 私も向かいたいというか。
Okay?
夢ね。私にはわからない感性。くだらないお遊びとしか思えない。姉さんらしいや。
But then again, that's what makes you yourself, and you can see that you're smiling.
一つずつ解決していきましょう。
Okay, so going back to Kotori and the others, they're trying to find out a strategy to get their club status back. So on the way home, we were discussing the conditions that Akari spoke to us about. So the easiest one is to get enough members. And Ageha, do you have anyone in mind?
なくはないけど、しのちゃんとか興味あるみたいだし。葵はどうなの？
Well, I don't have much over here. What about you? Well, I hardly have any ideas either. There's no one who actually has come forward and said that they want to join. And the general level of awareness of the Soaring Club has risen since the time that Amane was doing it by herself, and the number of people interested in the activities has increased. While on the other hand, the rumor is that if you get involved, the teacher, Tobioka-sensei, will have his eye on you. It's spreading, so there's not really anyone that would join that easily. And I'm sure it's like he's trying his hard to get the school to promote his robotics club. And that promotion is pretty much overshadowing the Soaring Club or the Soaring Circle. So what about you, Kotori? So as Kotori sat there in her wheelchair, she looked down deep in thought. Her expression seemed gloomy somehow.
どうしたの、小鳥？
So anything?
私ね、新入部員入れたくない。
Uh-oh. So I think it's okay the way we are. Hey, so what's this all of a sudden?
だってその誰かは私たちがどんな思いで何をしてきたか知らないのよ。
Well, I kind of don't trust new members. I think they may ruin our atmosphere.
モーニンググローリーに憧れる気持ちも、あまねちゃんとイスカのことも。
So we're pretty much continuing the dreams of Amane and Iska. Wait, about the day we were so close but couldn't quite make it? So Ageha and I had the same kind of expression as Kotori. So we had mixed feelings about having new members to join. And while trying to carry out our activities as a club, so I understand this is a contradiction. Well, it's not easy to make a clear decision.
あまねちゃん、今頃どうしてるかな。さあ、相変わらずなんじゃない？
So Maya's now working at her father's laboratory, and I wonder how she feels. So even though she's quite excited about being part of her father's experiments, I'm sure somewhere in her mind she might start to miss the Soaring Club and might try to find a way to go back to it. So we sometimes test her, we text her, but the replies either don't come or if they do, they come much later. Well, basically she's too busy working at that place and has no time to message. Well, it's obvious that she's not much of a writer. Okay, so she's not really good at texting. It's likely that she doesn't even realize when a text has been sent to her. And sometimes she replies to several texts all at the same time, so the content of the message is hard to understand. Well, she's probably sitting in her seat at the laboratory, but I wonder what she does all day. So is she eating properly, I wonder? I feel nostalgic as I recall the way she ate. that totally spoils the effect of her good looks. And we only spent about 2 months together, but to us, that time still feels very special.
あまねちゃんにとってグライダーはもう過去のものになっちゃったのかな。
So as Kotori mumbles quietly, we all start to feel kind of sad. Well, when she's concentrating on something, she loses sight of everything around her.
きっとそのうちすごい発明品を作って世の中をあっと言わせちゃうんじゃない？
But I'm pretty sure at some point, her inventions are going to supersede her interest in her work on gliders. So it's possible that Amane's inventions are already everywhere, but we just haven't realized it. Well, she's not the sort of person to boast her own achievements. Which is why, even if that happened, she wouldn't go as far as to send a text saying that, "So isn't this great?" or something like that. And we'd like her to send us something though.
また飛ばないとね。それであまねちゃんに見てほしい。
Yep. Right. So in order to do that, there were so many hurdles for us to overcome. And one of those was finding new club members.
ここのパーツは学校の機材で作れるんだよ。だから昼休みにでも忍び込んで。
Okay, so it looks like Ageha is able to have some idea of getting more parts to improve the glider, and I wonder if she has them now or she is planning on taking them from the school. So I'm going to stop here for this episode, and we're going to see how they are able to get members. But I'm pretty sure there is one person that is already interested in joining the club, and it's only a matter of time before that person speaks up. And obviously, they're pretty much fighting against the teacher who has lots of power at school. And I'm sure of all those people that are interested in the Soaring Club, they're scared of the teacher, Tobioka-sensei, and I'm sure he's like, well, that club is not a good club. It's wasting school money. It has no achievements. And if you want a club that's going to help you in your future, come to my club, the Robotics Club. And I wonder how he feels about Ageha leaving the Robotics Club. But I'm pretty sure that there's no way that he's going to get Ageha back in the Robotics Club. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen that he's going to recruit the twins into his club either. And despite Yoru being negative about the Soaring Club or the Soaring Circle, I'm sure it does not translate to her being interested in the Robotics Club. But anyways, with that in mind, I'll see you in the next episode.